Hi everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the BookTube backstage tag or backstage BookTube tag. I was tagged by Amarita from Amarita by the Book, so thank you so much for tagging me to do this. I'm like super behind filming it because that's who I am as a person, but it's happening and it will go up at some point. So the first question in this tag is, what camera do you use for your videos? So the camera I use, which you can barely see in this shot because of the glare, is this Canon PowerShot SX740HS. I essentially got it because even though it was pricier than I wanted, it was still a much better quality camera than what I was filming on. Well, I feel like my phone was filming fine, but I didn't have enough memory on my phone, and I was just like, that is too much of a hassle. I feel like a camera would simplify my life. So I kind of got this because I didn't want to go too hard and spend way too much, but still wasn't, you know, cheap. So yeah, basically the short answer is this is what I use to film. The second question is, speaking about filming and being your own director, do you have a favorite film director? The answer to this is not really. The only film director I know is Tim Burton because it's Tim Burton, you know, like how could I not know Tim Burton? So I guess by virtue of being essentially the only director I know by name, it's Tim Burton, and I just like the general aesthetic of his movies, so I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy them. But then I would also mention whoever the director is for Birds of Prey, magnifique. That movie was beautiful, like just filmed beautifully. So yes, 100% also the director of Birds of Prey. I'm pretty sure it's a woman. I don't know her name though. I'll probably put it up there so you know what her name is. The third question is, what microphone do you use and what program do you use to edit your videos? So I don't currently use a mic to film my videos. It's just the camera's own natural mic. The short answer is that. The real answer, or the more elaborate answer, is that my friend got me a mic. So I have a mic thing, the Scarlett Solo. That's what I have, but I haven't actually set it up so that I can actually use it. So this exists and will eventually be my answer to this question, but at the moment I'm not technically using this, so it's not really what's going on here. As for what I use to edit my videos, I just use iMovie. Is that what it's called? I think it's iMovie. I have a Mac, so that's the easiest, cheapest program to use to edit these videos. So I just keep it simple. I just use iMovie because I'm cheap. The fourth question is, do you remember the first record that you bought or received as a gift? No, I don't. The strongest memory I have of receiving a record though, or a CD, was for Amigos al Rescate. I'm pretty confident that used to be a telenovela for kids. So I would, or Cómplices al Rescate. Listen, I don't even know what it's called anymore, but it was one of those options. So I vividly remember that. I think there's even a picture of me as a kid holding the CD in my hands when I got it as a gift. So that's the only one I can remember. I also feel like I had the CD for Ami, la de la mochila azul, again, another telenovela. It's ironic that I don't really watch telenovelas now that I'm older, but I did used to watch them as a kid. I did watch the kid-friendly ones though, and eventually I did watch a little bit of the ones for adults, but regardless, that's as far as I go back. The fifth question is, how do you prepare your videos? Talking points, a detailed script, or just talking? So it honestly depends. For most of my recent reads videos, the only script I have is that I write Goodreads reviews, and so once I'm recording, I am looking at my Goodreads review as a basis for what I'm going to say, and then I just spice it up for the camera most of the time. I'm not just reading off of it. Otherwise, most of the time for tag videos, I just go off the cuff. Like for this one, the only thing I prepared is like, I knew that I had to have my mic, I knew that I had to have the box for my camera and all that stuff, but I wasn't really preparing a script and I didn't really look at the questions closely before I just hit record. And then for my reviews, for my single book reviews, I do tend to write a script, but again, that usually just ends up being my Goodreads review. And I did script my Ponyo video, my Ponyo review. I scripted that pretty heavily, and then I kind of went off script, but kind of didn't. So like, honestly, the script is only to help jog up ideas. Usually I just say whatever comes to mind once the camera is on. The sixth question is, TV shows have become the thing of our time. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Netflix, HBO, and Amazon. What is/are your favorite TV shows ever? Name a maximum of 3. Okay, easy. That is easy. Hannibal. The Hannibal TV series, perfection, iconic, incredible. I haven't rewatched it in a while, but it doesn't matter. I still know it's brilliant. I still know it's fantastic. I still know it's aesthetic. So Hannibal is definitely one, and I'm actually looking forward to re-watching it because it's just so good. Would give my life a Will Graham, but that's not the point of this video. The second one I would mention is Anne with an E. I am actually planning right now to rewatch Anne with an E with a friend, because essentially I was like, I'm not really in the mood to watch something new, so if you want to watch Anne with an E, then we can watch that together. And she said yes, so that's going to be happening. Love Anne with an E. I love that they took a more modern approach to it, or more, how do I say this? I just love that even though it's in this historical setting, they decided to include the stories of queer characters, and they also have Indigenous characters. It's unfortunate that the show got canceled and we didn't get more of the Indigenous characters, but still I appreciated that they were trying to go for that and that they weren't really trying to cis, straight, white coat everything. So love Anne with an E. And then finally, I'm going to mention Killing Eve. I've mentioned Killing Eve on this channel before. Absolutely adore it. There is nothing better than sapphics and murder. I mean, like, okay, Hannibal and Killing Eve, that is prime content for me, and both of those are extremely homoerotic and about murder. So that tells you something about the kind of stories I enjoy. And then you put in the middle Anne with an E, which is radically different from both of those, but oh well. The seventh question is, what kind of booktube videos do you prefer to watch and why? Reviews, wrap-ups, vlogs, book hauls, tag videos, etc. So honestly, this all depends a lot on the booktuber actually. I can enjoy book hauls. They're not my all-time favorite, but I kind of do like them just for this flood of book recommendations just based on the aesthetics of the cover or the brief summary of the book. So I do enjoy book hauls, and I also enjoy wrap-ups. I like knowing what a booktuber read in the whole month in just one sitting, but since I know that it's not always easy to film those in a timely manner, I also just like recent reads videos. That's why I make them myself. So either of those work for me. I don't really care either way. And then I really like single book reviews if I'm interested in the book. When it's an unknown book to me, I'm not really that interested, but when I have either read the book or plan to read the book, or it's like a booktube fave but I don't feel like it's going to jive with me, I love in-depth book reviews. Like I will watch a really long single book review just for the person to go into the nitty-gritty about everything in the book. That's just kind of how I am. Question 8 is, watching TV was probably a part of all of our childhoods. These years it has become less popular. What kind of media user are you? So yeah, I mean, technically I don't watch a lot of movies. I just don't. But I also don't watch a lot of TV series. I spend most of my time, if I'm watching a movie, watching Hallmark movies because they're predictable, easy, calming. I know exactly what I'm going to get with it, and I am not filled with crippling disappointment. So honestly, don't watch a lot of TV or movies, but I can be more moved to watch a TV series if, nah, like, let's not even get into it. Regardless, I do use Twitter, I use Instagram and I use Tumblr still. I'm using Instagram and Tumblr less and less and less each day. I just, meh, they're just whatever. And Twitter, I just can't avoid the cesspool. I like knowing the stupid things authors are doing. I like being aware of the latest book controversies. So that's kind of why Twitter is my true addiction. But even then, it's not like I spend hours and hours and hours on Twitter every day. I might spend an hour a day, maybe. Depends on the day, because I'm a college student and it's not like Twitter is the most relaxing. So yeah, other than that, I don't really use a lot of social media. I mean, I use Facebook, but you know, not like to connect with other readers or anything. Just for the memes, honestly. Even if they're old, I'm like, okay, I'm old, so show me old memes. I don't care. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of losing the appeal of social media outside of YouTube. I just spend a lot of time actually on YouTube. That's the real answer. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't really spend that much time on other social media. So the final prompt is to tag other booktubers. So once again, I'm always hesitant to tag people. I don't think Steph from Coffee Over Apples has done this, but maybe she has. So if she has, Steph, you can just ignore this. Who else? See, the other problem is that I just blank. I know I have a couple of people that I'd like to tag. So I guess I'll just link it down below, and I might just put a screenshot here of the people I'm tagging. So yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, because it's not really brought up in the tag questions, that I do use a ring light that, yes, technically it's for a phone holder, but the ring light that is probably always annoying you in the corner of my eye is this one, this Halo Flex Duo, which is a ring light, 3.5-inch ring light with the little thing. I use it because the sun is perpetually walking away from me. So yeah, and also I use a Sunpack Travel Smart 50 tripod. That's essentially the tripod that I use to film these videos. So just thought you might want to know. That's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to follow me on any of my social media, I will have the links to that down below in the description. But for now, see you next time.